This is a story about a man. Meet Henry. Henry Holdridge. Henry is a proud father who has 3 kids. His youngest child, Sarah, is 10 years old. Then comes his only son, Philip, at the age of 13, and his oldest and most beautiful daughter, Rebecca, at the age of 16. But before we go any further, let's take you back to see the upbringing of Henry. Henry is the result of the hippie generation in the 60s. His parents met at a music festival, and to their surprise, 9 months later they had a baby boy. Henry grew up in a little town called Anderson, in the tree-filled state of Oregon. It is there where he learned how to play basketball. Henry loved basketball. Henry ate, slept, dreamed, and lived basketball. In middle school, Henry played for his first all-star basketball team and traveled all around the West Coast playing basketball. Henry went to Anderson High School with a total of 1,000 students. In 9th grade, Henry was asked to be the starting point guard for the Anderson Anacondas. Basketball was Henry's life. Until 10th grade came. 10th grade was when Henry met Samantha. Samantha was the attractive new girl. The first time Henry saw her, something changed. He actually stopped thinking about basketball. After a few weeks of 10th grade, Henry finally got the guts to talk to Samantha. One day in the hallway, Henry walked right up to her and said, "Hey." That's where it all started. Henry and Samantha. Samantha liked Henry mainly because he was good at basketball and everyone thought he was cool. Henry liked Samantha because he thought she was hot and she was in 11th grade. After a month of dating, Samantha invited Henry over to her house after school. Once they had arrived to her house, he realized no one else was there. Samantha told him her brother was at guitar practice, her mom was at work, and her dad, well, he had left them when she was a baby. They started to watch a movie on the couch, and during the previews, the kissing began. Henry was excited. He never did anything with a girl before. Yeah, he kissed a few girls, but nothing like this. Samantha asked if he wanted to go into her bedroom. Henry smiled and said, that was the day Henry's life would never be the same. Henry loved having sex. That's all he could think about when he wasn't on the basketball court. He just wanted to have more of Samantha. But things changed 3 months into their relationship. Another cute girl at school started chopping it up with Henry. Henry knew he liked Samantha, but he also thought this girl Ruby was hot too. After a few weeks, Henry pressured Ruby to sleeping with him. After that, he realized he had a gift. His gift was not only basketball, but he could get girls to sleep with him. By his senior year, Henry wanted nothing to do with Samantha and wanted everything to do with any attractive girl who was willing to sleep with him. All Henry's friends thought he had the most swag because he could get girls and got a Division I basketball scholarship. Life was good for Henry. Henry went on to play basketball for Texas University and continued to sleep with any girl who was willing. Henry graduated from Texas with a business degree and even made a few NBA practice teams. Henry ended up moving to St. Louis Park, Minnesota, and opening a restaurant and a clothing store. But the thing Henry looks forward to every day is spending time with his kids. Henry loves playing Barbies with Sarah, basketball with Philip, and watching movies with Rebecca. But now he can't remember the last time he watched a movie with Rebecca. Ever since Rebecca got a boyfriend, all she wants to do is spend time with him. Henry is sad that Rebecca doesn't want to spend time with her father anymore. But he realizes that his princess is growing up. Henry wishes that Rebecca would want to spend time with him, but he didn't want to force her to love him. He allowed her to do what she wanted. And that's when Henry's heart broke. One day, Henry got off of work early. Philip was at basketball practice and Sarah was at a friend's house, so he decided to go home and see if Rebecca wanted to go see a movie. Henry entered his house and heard something coming from upstairs. Henry made his way up the stairs and heard the noise coming from Rebecca's room. When Henry opened the door, he saw the most painful image that had ever entered his eyes. His most loved and cherished princess was having sex with her boyfriend. Rebecca screamed and the boy fell off of her. Anger flowed through Henry's veins as they got dressed. He had never been so furious in his life. He wanted to rip that boy's head right off his shoulders. He wanted to cause that boy the same amount of pain as the boy was causing him. But Henry couldn't move. He couldn't speak. Henry left the room and went to his room. Henry just broke. His stomach felt like it was in his throat and he couldn't say a word. He couldn't move a muscle. He began to weep. He wept for hours, alone, broken. Then something happened. Henry began to think of all the girls he slept with in his past years. Did their fathers feel the same way I do right now? Did those girls' fathers hate me as much as I hate that boy? Henry's mind was racing with questions. All of those girls he slept with, did it cause other people this much pain? How about those girls' mothers? Did they weep the same way I'm weeping? What about the girls' brothers and sisters? What about the girls, too? What about the girls who got married? Did their husbands cry over what we did? How did they feel to know that the love of their life had slept with another guy? How many people did my 20 minutes of fun affect? Were they all affected in a negative way? Henry couldn't stop the questions from coming into his head. Henry spent hours crying and thinking about all the questions he had. Henry ended up speaking with Rebecca and still loved her even though her actions had brought him so much pain. Rebecca didn't understand why her dad was so upset. Didn't he know her kids her age had sex? Rebecca's boyfriend ended up breaking up with her because he was scared of her dad. Rebecca was crushed. Her world felt like it was over. She thought he loved her. Henry spent nights alone in his room crying. He had known she was going to have sex one day, but he didn't know it was going to affect him in this way. Some nights were worse than others. At times it was a few tears, and at times it seemed like rivers were coming from his eyes. Henry couldn't get those questions out of his mind about all the girls he slept with. He was upset, and he wished he knew when he was younger how this could affect the girls' family members. He wished someone would have told him.